He chose to be alone, and for the first time in his life, he was happy. No arguments waiting for him at home, no walking on eggshells, no performance reviews disguised as conversations. Just silence, purpose, and a version of himself he actually respected. He had done the math on modern relationships, and the numbers didn't add up, so he walked away, quietly, without anger, without looking back. And then she walked into his life. Not because he was looking, not because he was lonely, but because something about her was different in a way he couldn't immediately name. And that unnamed thing cracked open something in him he thought was permanently sealed. What she did is not what you think. And by the end of this, you will understand exactly why the men who wanted nothing suddenly wanted everything. But first, you need to understand what these men actually built when they disappeared. When a man reaches genuine peace in solitude, he doesn't just stop dating. He constructs a life, brick by brick. A morning routine nobody interrupts, a bank account nobody drains, a nervous system that finally stopped bracing for impact. He builds something that works, something stable, something his. And once a man has lived inside that stability long enough, he stops seeing it as a consolation prize. He starts seeing it as the standard, the baseline everything else gets measured against. This is the part most people get completely wrong about men who check out. They assume he is secretly miserable. They assume he is waiting to be rescued from his own silence. They assume that underneath the contentment is a man desperate for someone to finally choose him. He isn't. He is sitting in his apartment, exactly where he wants to be, doing exactly what he wants to do. And he is fine. Actually fine. Not performing fine. Not convincing himself he is fine. Fine in the way that only comes when you stop letting other people define what your life is supposed to look like. That is who she walked into. Not a wounded man. Not a lonely man. A complete man. And that distinction changes everything about what happened next. If you're finding this valuable, take 1 second and subscribe, because what comes next is the part nobody talks about. Here is what she did not do. She did not pursue him. There was no strategy, no calculated vulnerability, no engineered proximity designed to make him notice her. Because here is the thing about a man who has been out of the game long enough. He has seen every strategy. He has cataloged every pattern. His radar for performance is so finely tuned that he can feel it before it even lands. The moment he detects someone running a script on him, something in him goes completely cold. Not with anger, with indifference. And indifference, as he has learned, is the most efficient exit. She also did not make him a project. She never looked at his solitude as a problem she was qualified to solve. She never treated his self-sufficiency as a wound that needed her healing. She never implied through her words or her energy that he needed to be different before she could fully accept him. Because she wasn't there to renovate him. She was there to know him. And that difference, invisible to most people, was everything to him. But here is the thing that is going to surprise you. The first thing he actually noticed about her had nothing to do with how she treated him. It was how she treated herself. She was not performing her happiness. She was not broadcasting a curated version of a woman who had done the work. She had actually done the work. And those two things look almost identical from a distance. But up close, in person, in the unscripted moments of ordinary interaction, they feel completely different. Authentic contentment has a specific gravity. It doesn't look around to see if anyone is watching. It doesn't need applause. It simply exists, steadily, the way a well-made thing exists. And he felt that steadiness before he even consciously registered it. Here is where it gets interesting. She was direct, not aggressive, not transactional, just direct. When she had something to say, she said it clearly and without wrapping it in layers of implication, designed to test his emotional intelligence. When she disagreed, she said so calmly and moved on. When she was curious about him, she asked. No games designed to manufacture scarcity. No calculated silences meant to make him wonder. Just honest, clean communication that felt so foreign in the modern landscape that it almost startled him. He had forgotten what it felt like to talk to someone who meant what they said. And she had her own life, not as a talking point, not as a shield she carried into conversations to signal her independence. as a genuine, breathing reality. She had places she was going that had nothing to do with him. She had things she cared about that existed long before he arrived and would continue existing regardless of what happened between them. She was not waiting to be completed. She was already moving. And something about watching a person move through their own life with that kind of quiet direction made him want to know where she was going. But none of that is what finally got through to him. What got through was something so simple it is almost embarrassing to say out loud. She never made him feel like a problem. In every relationship he had been in before, there was an undercurrent, a persistent low-frequency signal that said he was not quite enough, not quite present enough, not quite ambitious enough, not quite emotionally fluent enough, not quite the man she had imagined when she imagined the man she deserved. He had spent years trying to close that gap, years adjusting and accommodating and shrinking himself into shapes that fit someone else's expectations, and it had exhausted him in a way that took months of solitude to fully recover from. She never sent that signal, not because she was without standards, but because her standards were about character, not performance. She was not grading him against a fantasy. She was simply present with the actual person in front of her. And for a man who had spent years being quietly audited, that presence felt like taking off armor he didn't realize he was still wearing. Now here's the moment that changes everything. There is no grand gesture, no cinematic declaration, no rain. The moment it shifts for a man like this is invisible to everyone, including sometimes himself. He is in his apartment, his clean, quiet apartment that is exactly the way he left it. He is doing exactly what he wants to do. And she walks into his mind. Not because she put herself there, simply because she was interesting enough to stick. He notices it. He doesn't panic. He sits with it the way a man who has done real inner work sits with things. He examines it honestly. He asks himself whether this is loneliness wearing a disguise or something genuinely different. And when the answer comes back clearly, something else, he doesn't run from it. He follows it. Not desperately, not urgently, deliberately, the way he does everything now. And this is the part that matters most. He reaches out simply and directly, because without realizing it, she had already shown him what real things look like, and he had been living in reality long enough to recognize one when it appeared. Here is what this is not. This is not a formula. If you take anything from this and convert it into a strategy, it will fail, immediately and completely, because the man who has been out long enough has seen every formula. He is not accessible through technique. Technique is, by definition, not real, and real is the only currency he accepts. What this is a portrait of a specific kind of person, someone who has done enough of their own work that they are no longer auditioning for anyone, someone whose consistency is not a discipline she maintains, but a character she has become, someone who is interested in building something with another person instead of extracting something from them. These people are rarer than they should be, but they exist, and the men who went quiet are not gone. They are simply still enough now to tell the difference between what is real and what is constructed. When the real thing arrives, they know. And here's the final thing, the thing that reframes everything you just heard. The women who reached these men were not the most impressive women in the room. They were not the loudest, or the most strategically positioned, or the most carefully optimized for attraction. They were the most consistent, the most honest, the safest. They made him feel like himself around them. And for a man who spent years fighting through noise to find that self, the person who simply lets him be it without negotiation, without conditions, without a continuous performance review, that person is not a convenience. She is the rarest thing in his world. He didn't lower his walls for her. He built a door, because for the first time, she made him want to.